So, hello everyone. Thank you so much for tuning in. Welcome to my very thoughtful world. As you guys know, I am about bringing you positive, powerful women who are doing their thing. Like, I want you to see that it is possible to live your dreams. Like, I don't want you to leave this earth and miss out on it. And it's not as hard as you think. It does take a lot of work, but guess what? You're already working hard anyway. So tonight I'm bringing you Miss April Louise. I am excited to have her on. Listen, if you guys have been thinking about publishing a book, this is the night you want to tune in. So, Miss April, please tell everybody who you are, what you do, and tell us your superpower.
So I am April Louise. I am April Mays Rhodes, but in the literary world, I am known as April Louise. I am an author, speaker, workshop facilitator, skill building coach, and founder and CEO of Life is a Maze. At Life is a Maze, what we do is we empower women that are in the sisterhood of motherhood and their children navigate through life's maze through skill building.
Oh, wow. Okay. How did you get that started? What made you get into that?
So I am by education, and you can say profession, a national certified counselor. So I have my master's degree in mental health counseling. And the reason why I said by education and sort of profession is because my 9 to 5, I'm a human resource recruiter.
Okay.
So I am a counselor. I've been a counselor for over 10 years. And I just decided that my spectrum would be women and children, mostly children. But then I became a single mom. So I kind of turned around to include women that are in the sisterhood of motherhood and their children. So that's how I got into Life is a Maze. And then, the skill building, because I help women and children find their inner self-awareness and self-regulation. So I teach soft skills.
Okay. Now, do you do that is that like a nonprofit organization, or how do you find the moms and the kids and do that work?
So how I do it, or how I've been doing it, is I've been doing it either through workshops or through coaching, because I do have coaching packages. So coaching, workshops, and of course I have 2 courses out, and then my publishings, which is my book. So that is my ministry. So that's how I am reaching out to my audience. I go to the school systems. I work with nonprofits. I work with churches. Any avenue that has mothers and children, because everybody has a mother. So any avenue that has mothers and children, that's where I reach out to.
Okay. I love it. I love it. And how long have you been doing this?
So I've been a counselor for 10 years, and I've had Life as a Maze since 2020. So 3 years. And I've only been an author for a year, though. I became an author last November 2022.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. And your first book, tell everybody the name of your first book, because I know, is Mommy Guilt your first one?
Yes, it is. You remember. So my first book, I have a picture of it. My first book is Mom Guilt, a guide to understanding what it is, why it exists, and how to manage it. So that's my first book, and you can go onto my website, lifeisamaze.com. Maze is spelled MAYS, and get you a free copy of the book. Yes, you get a free copy of the book.
That's awesome. So tell us your journey. How many children do you have?
So my journey, I have one. He is 24 years old now, but I have one. God bless me with one, because he know. He know. So I said I was going to have 2, but I just had the one, and I'm blessed to have that one. So I have one child. I'm a godmother to many. And of course, you heard earlier, I'm an auntie to a lot. Yeah. I have a lot of nieces and nephews, and great nieces and nephews.
How did that mom guilt show up in your life to the place where you would actually feel like you need to write a book about it?
So at one point in time last year, I was going through a period of insomnia. And I've always been told, if you keep going through insomnia, then maybe God is trying to tell you something. So it had been like over a month. I was taking melatonin and everything. It was just not working. So one night around 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, I was like, okay, Lord, what you trying to tell me? So I asked him that question, and I cleared my mind. And then it was just revealed that I need to write a book. So I was like, that's what I need to do, rewrite this book. And then immediately I fell asleep. So the
Okay.
next morning, I was still excited. So I called my son and I was like, I was going through insomnia last night again, and God told me to write a book. And he said, Mom, I was just about to call you and tell you need to write a book. So that was my confirmation that I need to write a book. So then I said, okay, I'm going to write a book. What am I going to write a book about? Because, I might not look like it. I'm 52. At the time, I was 51 years old. And I was like, I've, been through some things. So I have experience. What should I write a book about? But I went on social media, trolling your social media on Facebook.
Yeah.
And two of my Facebook friends were talking about their epic fails as something that went on that caused them to have mom guilt. So I
Mm.
was like, you know what? I'd experienced mom guilt. I still have mom guilt. So I wrote the book. So I just wrote the book about mom guilt. And as a guide, I sort of have myself in the book. It's not like an autobiography, but I sort of have myself in the book because I'm a product of my products.
Okay.
And so a little bit of me is in the book. So I have went through some of the things, some of the guilt that I have written about in my book.
Yeah. Do you mind sharing with the audience maybe like one of those things? Because I want to make sure that the ladies hear this and they feel like they can relate. Because a lot of times, we meet people kind of either in the middle of their journey or when they're in that really great part of the journey. And so it feels like if I'm watching this and I haven't got started, I feel like, Moya, it's too late. Well, she's been doing this for years and she's already done that. And she's probably always, been so on top of things. Remind them that it's a journey for all of us.
It is a journey to be an author. Like I said, I didn't even have a clue until it was revealed to me. And then the next day, my son just confirmed it and he was like, yes, you need to write one. And then, so I'm not saying it fell in place. It's just within 24 hours, I'm going to write a book and that topic fell in place. But
Mm,
now I have to get my thoughts together and I have to decide, how am I going to write the book? Am I going to write the book about me or what I went through? Or am I going to write the book as a guide, do the research? So I had to sit there and figure out how I was going to write the book first. And then I just started writing. And then as I started writing, I was like, oh, well, let me research this. So then I did, research. So I did all of that to put the book together. And this is another thing.
okay.
Because we'll write and we'll revise and pick and pick and pick and pick. And then it'll be 3-4 years and the book still is not complete.
That's right.
So what I have learned is done is better than perfect. At some
Yeah.
point, when you write and you get everything together, you just need to let it go. Because if not, it would be 3-4 years down the line and you will be like, I should have wrote that book. And you'd have wrote the book, but you haven't published it because you still trying to make it perfect. But done is
Exactly.
better than perfect. So then once I wrote the book, sent it to my child to read. And then he was like, well, get beta. So my child acts like he's my dad. So he was like, okay, the book is done. You need to get you some beta readers. Cause I don't know. This is my first journey, but I
Yeah.
do have some individuals. I have a few sorors that I am really close to that are authors. So I reached out to them too, so they can help guide me. And then my son and one of my sorority sisters who's Nikkei, who's an author, she was like, you need to get beta readers. So then I got beta readers and, they read it and I listened to what they said and their suggestions. And then I revised it. And then I sent it to an editor and then the editor, made the suggestions and I revamped it and I reread the book again because even though the editor may make a suggestion,
Yeah.
the suggestion that the editor makes might not be the direction that I was trying to go with
Right.
the book. So once the editor made the suggestions, I reread it to make sure it was still flowing how I wanted to flow.
Yeah.
Because sometimes editors, they edit for grammar, they edit for tone, but they may not know exactly which direction you're going. So after that, then I just put the book to bed, went on Fiverr and got my cover letter. I got my book cover done, chose my book cover, got everything situated. And then I made an ebook. That was my first. Mom Guilt was an ebook first. So I
Okay.
created the ebook. Got me a little website, created a website. My son created my website, put the ebook on it. The ebook was selling, marketing. And then my son said, okay, you got an ebook. Because that's me. I was just going to test the waters, do the
Mm,
ebook, and leave it like that. He was like, oh no, mom, no. What you gonna do next is you gonna make it into a physical book. That's a whole nother beast. And I'm
Mhm.
like, I don't know how to do that. Who do I use? Do I use Amazon? Do I use Lulu? Just a lot going on. So I end up using Amazon. So I got Amazon, and you had to, because it was ebook format. So now you got to revamp it to the 6x9 book. And then do you want a matte? Do you want a glossary? Black and white pages, design, all of that. So I had to make those decisions, and I got it on Amazon as well as my website, and
Okay.
I published it that way. So that journey took about like 2 to 3 months, because once I started writing, I was just writing. So it took about 2 to 3 months. But for everybody who's out there that has an ebook, there is a difference between an ebook and a physical book, and there's a little bit more that goes into the physical book.
Yeah, I totally agree. In fact, the strange thing is, I've never been able to pull off an ebook because I find I get frustrated with it.
So yeah, and I was, like I said, I was just testing the water. So I was just gonna do the ebook, but then my son reminded me, because I'm like this too. I would rather have a physical book in my hand to read. And he was like, "Well, mom, what about people that are just like you that want that physical book? So you need to go ahead and do the physical book." So I created the physical book, and then he says, like I said, my son act like he's my dad. So then my son says, well, you got a physical book. So guess what else you're going to do? You need to go ahead and create a course to go with the book.
Give for your son.
So that's that HBCU education. No shade to PWIs, because I went to a PWI too, but I'm just saying that's that HBCU education. So, so that's another beast by itself, is creating a course.
Now, how long is your course?
I don't even know. My course, I think, is about because after I recreated it twice.
Okay.
So the audio version of it is about 45 minutes long. And it has like maybe 12 or 13 modules. And that's because you're reading. I mean, you're talking, so you're talking quicker than actually sitting there with the course and reading it. And then it has a workbook to go with it.
So it's self-led, or do you walk
It's self-led. It's self-led.
Okay. Yeah.
Because
I
this
didn't
is
know
my
if it was like
first
a
course.
5-week course or that kind of thing.
No, I have not got to that point yet, but I'm working on it. So this was my first course. I had no clue what I was doing. I was like, creating a course, I'm Googling like these webinars. What am I doing? I have no clue. But I have a mentor. I just bumped into her. I have a mentor, Dr. Sade Adu, who works on courses. So we met, and she walked me through how to create the course, because you can create the course. It can be audio, it can be visual, it can be both. So we created the course, and I have the course out there. The course is Navigating the Mom Guilt Maze. So that's what the course is about. And you can find that course on my website as well. So the course goes with the book. There's a workbook. So I have the ebook, the book, the course, and the workbook to go with mom guilt.
Cool. So are you offering a way out of mom guilt, or like, because I know as a mom, I remember during COVID, I think it was. So one of those holidays, I think during COVID, I actually did a little quick webinar on mommy guilt, because I was getting a lot of messages about moms feeling guilty because they was at home working, now they're at home with their kids, but they can't be with their kids.
Yes.
And so we're stirring up all of that, what should I be doing with my time? Feeling bad when, the kid comes in the room.
Yes.
I need you to go out, kind of thing.
So in my book, actually, there is a chapter on moms working from home and moms working outside the home. Because either which way, you can feel guilty. You can feel guilty if you work at home, because you can feel guilty if you a stay-at-home mom, but you're not working, because you might feel guilty that you're not contributing to the household.
Right.
But then again, you could be working from home, but of course, you have to work, so you might not have that time to spend with your child, because they're monitoring you working from home. And then if you work outside the home, you feel guilty because you're working outside the home. And that is in my book, and that is a valid mom guilt. You could get mom guilt from basically anything. my personal experience with mom guilt was I was married once upon a time, and when my son was 10 years old, I got a divorce. So
Mhm.
both me and my husband, that's what I call my ex-husband, my husband. So both me, myself and my husband are originally from Virginia. So he moved back to Virginia, but my son and I stayed in North Carolina. So I kind of felt guilty because um, his dad was in Virginia and I'm in North Carolina, and I stayed in North Carolina because of the school systems. I like the school systems that was going on in the Durham area at the time. And like I said, my son was 10 and he was ready to go to middle school. Um, so I felt guilty about that. I also felt guilty about not moving back to Virginia, period, because when I grew up, my cousins and I do have sisters. I have sisters, no brothers, but I have sisters. But my cousins and I grew up as siblings.
Okay.
So we grew up as siblings. And I felt guilty for not moving back because I felt like
Mhm.
now my son and my nieces and nephews, they won't grow up like I did as siblings. So I felt like I was keeping him away, from family.
Yeah.
Um, and that was a choice I made, the choice I had to live with. So I felt guilty about that. I also felt guilty because, okay, my child is 10 years old. He's getting ready to go through puberty. And I don't have that male figure around him per se because his dad is 2 hours away. Yeah, y'all
Mm.
can talk on the phone, but you're not going to see each other, you know, every day. So I felt guilty about that. I mean, I just feel, yeah. So that was like the biggest things that I felt guilty about. But mind you, you can feel as a mom, you can feel guilty about each phase that your child go through, each stage of
Absolutely.
life that your child go through, from conceiving him until he's adult. You can experience mom guilt as they grow up in different phases
Yeah.
of life. So I just want to let moms know that.
What would you tell the mom who may be watching and she's in the thick of it? She's with the kids that are very young,
Oh,
uh,
yes.
and and so she's kind of beating herself up. What would you tell her?
So first of all, let me go back to explain what mom guilt is.
Yes.
Mom guilt is that nagging feeling on the back of your mind, or the little, how they say, the devil on your shoulder that is telling you that you are inadequate, you are not worthy to be a parent, you're failing as a mom. That's what
Mhm.
mom guilt is, and it creeps up to the forefront of your mind. So now it's affecting your thought process, which affects your behavior, which affects your emotions, which affects your behavior. So that's what mom guilt is. So what I would tell any mom, especially the young moms that may have just that one child, they may have multiple children, that it is okay. First
Mhm.
of all, what you might be going through is you might be comparing yourself to other moms. Don't compare yourself to other moms. Just because your next door neighbor has children and she the soccer mom, she got the van and everything looks perfectly fine, you don't know what's going on in her house. She might be experiencing mom guilt too. So don't
Absolutely.
compare yourself to other moms. Everybody can't be Claire Huxtable. from,
Nor could Claire be Claire Huxtable.
Claire Huxtable or what, June Cleaver
That's
from,
right.
from back of the day. Everybody can't be that. So number one, stop comparing yourself to your mother. Stop comparing yourself to your grandmother, your sister, any mother. Just do not compare yourself, because you're setting up high expectations that
Yeah.
you don't need to set. Only you know what's best for you and your child.
That's right.
So that's one, stop comparing. Two, you need to take some time for yourself. I was told when I was pregnant, when that baby sleep, you sleep. Don't be out here trying to cook and clean and do all of that. When that baby sleep, you sleep. If that baby take a 5 minute cat nap, you take a 5 minute cat nap. And the reason why I say that is because you have to do self care as well.
That's right.
You have to do self care. Um, so you got to take care of yourself. I don't care if it's going to get your hair done once a month, or going to get your nails done, or just walking around the neighborhood. My favorite places was the public library and Barnes and Noble.
Oh wow.
I would go there and act like that was like my second home. I would go to the public library and Barnes and Noble and be there for hours. Hours. That was my self-care, because you can go and get your book and relax and look at the
Mhm.
magazines, get on the internet. That was my self-care. That was my break. That was my break. For those moms who might say, well, I don't have anybody to watch my child while I go get my hair done or go to the library or take a walk, build you a tribe.
Mm.
Build you a tribe, because there are other mothers out there, whether they're going through the same thing you're going through or not. Build your tribe with someone that you trust, because you can't leave your children with everybody.
I
But
agree.
but build your tribe so that you can take some time off. If you're married or you have a mate, leave your child with the mate, fix them some hamburger helper, and you take yourself out to dinner.
I like that. I
You
like
take yourself out to dinner by yourself.
that. Yeah. So with your organization, do you have other people publish their books, or is it just your?
No, so I'm not a publisher. I'm just the author and the skill building coach.
Okay.
But I have not stepped out, because I'm still getting used to being an author. So I have not put my toe into the waters of publishing as of yet.
I understand that. I understand that. Yeah. So, is there a kind of what do I want to call it? You got to forgive me. I'm
That's
feeling a
okay.
little energy tonight. Is there a testimony or someone's story where you had like this big turnaround where you was helping someone?
So, a testimony that I've had, I did a workshop in June, so a few months ago.
Mhm.
And I basically did the workshop on how to manage work life balance,
Okay.
as a parent. Because when you're a mom, you wear a lot of hats. You have a lot. You the caregiver, you the nurturer, you the nutritionist, the doctor, the nurse, the educator, the banker. You chauffeur. You wear a lot of hats. Just
That's
being
right.
a mom. Just
Yeah.
being a mom. And then if you're out, if you have a profession, even if you're just an entrepreneur and you have a profession, an entrepreneur, you may have a job with high responsibilities. You may have a job with low responsibility. You might be a teacher, so therefore you got your own kids and you got other people's children.
Ooh, yeah. That's
So, so I was doing this workshop, and I'm gonna give you a little strategy. One of the strategies with the workshop that starts off the workshop is the ability to say no.
mm,
You have to find, you have to become self-aware and recognize your triggers, and
mhm.
what's triggering you. You need to say no to it.
Okay.
So a lot of us is yes, 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 yes. Yes,
Mm.
I can do this. Yes, you can do this. Just yes. Yes, yes, yes. We say yes. I think it was a movie with Jim Carrey a few years
Yeah.
ago. It was like the
Yes.
yes man, because he always said no.
Yeah.
But for one day he had to say yes. I ask you to reverse that. You always
Mm.
saying yes. You need to stop saying no. So from that workshop, like the same day and the next day, I had many people reaching out to me and was like, thank you for encouraging me for the power of no.
Wow.
Just to say no, because I've had to use that word several times, and it just lifted a burden off of my shoulders when I said no.
Yeah. Isn't it something how as women oftentimes we need someone to give us permission to say
Yes.
no?
Yes.
Yeah, we've been programmed to believe somehow that like one, if we don't do it, it won't get done. And then
Mm-hmm.
two, that then if I say no,
Mm-hmm.
letting them down is such like the worst thing I could possibly do.
Yes, because we don't set boundaries.
That part. Yeah.
We don't set boundaries.
Yeah. And
And
I don't go ahead.
as mothers, we are like the backbone of the house. We're
Yes.
making sure everything is taken care of in the house. So we're not taking care of ourselves, and we're not setting those boundaries
Yeah.
around us. So it's like we have to seek validation, permission for someone to say it's okay
Mm,
to say no. And it's okay to be selfish with your time.
wow.
Because some people may say, "Oh, you being selfish." I sure am, because it's my time.
Yeah,
So
I
it's
love
okay to be
yeah,
selfish with your time, and it's okay to say no.
absolutely. I love that Iyanla calls that being self-full.
Yes.
And we need that. I have a daughter-in-law, and I was talking to her recently, and I was like, please do what you can to put you on your list of priorities. And she says, I really struggle with that because all her children are younger. I said, listen, you're gonna be they're gonna be better kids if they know that mom is good. And I think a lot of times moms don't get that. This and even there are pockets of the world who teach us that we're supposed to put our children first, even in marriage. Like people get
Yes.
huge arguments when, and I see this all the time. I've been married for, I was gonna say 30 years, but we've been married for 26. We've been together for 31, but
Okay.
or 30. But that, years back, it was a teaching that came out where the lady was encouraging women to put your husbands first or put the
Yes.
marriage first, and people would
Hmm.
got so upset about that. And with my children, I remember, I don't know how old they were, but they were old enough, and we had started doing date night. And it was a cold Tuesday night, and I don't, they know their mother don't like cold. I was like, I'm not going out. And they were like, well, we mom, you got to go out, you and dad have to have your time. I was like, why does it matter? And my son says, I know that I'm gonna be okay if you and
Yes.
dad are okay.
Yes. Yes.
He did.
Yes.
He said that. And that night they set up, because we was in an apartment that had upstairs, downstairs. They told us to go upstairs for a minute, and they set up all the downstairs, put in a movie, popped this popcorn. It was just like, you all are gonna have date night. Like you cannot not have date night. So we need to know that. And even if you're not married, when your daughter or your son see mom taking care of mom, it
Yes.
gives them permission
Yes.
to not put everybody before them.
Yes.
You need to really relax.
Yes. Because you have to. I mean, when my son went to college, because from day one, it was like all about my son, all about my son, all about my son. And then, I got divorced. And then, of course, it's still all about my son because, instead of making sure I'm good, I got to make sure he good because he used to having two parents in the household. And then he got one, and one lives like in Virginia. So just making sure, he's fine, that, everything's fine with him. So when he went to college, he literally told me when he went to college and I dropped him off, he was like, Mom, I'm gonna need you to get a life. Like, I need you to get a life. He said, I am in college. I think you did a great job in raising me. I'm gonna be good, but I'm gonna need you to get a life. And coming to visit me, it does not include it. I need you to do something for you at least once a month. And you can't say, oh, I'm gonna come and take a trip to AAT to visit my child and think but that don't count. He was like, that's not count because you're gonna come and visit me anyway. So I'm gonna need you to get a life. So then I was like, I was forced into doing self-care.
Yeah.
If he hadn't told me that, I wouldn't have been. So now I get my hair done once a month. I do my mani-pedi once a month. I try to go somewhere once a month. Then the pandemic hit, so that slowed everything down.
Yeah.
But now that the world is opening back up, I am being selfish with my time. I'm spoiling myself and I'm taking care of myself because if I don't do it, who's gonna do it?
Exactly.
And another thing, mothers, if you don't take care of yourself and you're sitting over in the hospital with an IV bag in your arm because you're exhausted, you still not gonna be able to relax because you're gonna be thinking, who running my household?
Yeah.
Who running my household? And they're gonna need you to relax. And then some of us, if we were to fall out tomorrow, some of us don't have nobody to take care of us. So you have to put yourself. Some people might say, don't put yourself first, put your husband first, or put your children first. But in actuality, you have to put yourself first because if you don't take care of yourself, who gonna take care of everybody else? You can't pour from an empty cup.
That part. Yeah.
You just can't. You can't. Some people might try, but you just cannot pour from an empty cup. I have this analogy because I used to do it. I try not to do it, but I would drive my car on gas fumes. And I would say, the little light come on and it's giving you a warning to let you know you need to put some gas in the car. But in my mind, I'm like, I know my car. I got 3, 4, 5 miles to keep going. And I literally ran out of gas one day. So I don't do it no more, but I used to. But that is your body. Your body are giving you signs of, I need you to rest. I need you to take care of yourself. And they're giving you warning signs, headaches, you being irritable, and you not paying attention. And you feeling guilty for, and then that's another thing. You feel guilty because you're not paying attention to your body. And then if you laid up sick, who gonna take care of your children? And then you feeling guilty because you're sick and you can't take care of your child.
So it's
So I'm
just
gonna
just the
take
vicious cycle, huh? Just the
it
vicious.
is being a mom. Being a mom is not for the weak.
Yeah, I totally get it, and I appreciate you coming on tonight. And listen,
Uh-huh.
ladies, I want you guys to really tune in and listen to what Miss April is telling you. Stop being having to be a superwoman. It
Yes.
is okay to take time for yourself. It's
Yes.
absolutely okay to take time to rest. And
Yes.
know that everything won't fall apart if
It
you
won't. It
step
won't.
away from it. It just will not.
It
But I
won't.
want to say thank you. Go ahead.
Them dirty dishes still gonna be there when you get back.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And guess what? At the end of the day, nobody really cares. The
Exactly.
things we think are so huge and that has to be done right now. In the scheme of
Yes.
life, in the
Yes.
scheme of all that is, life and love and health, it's not that big of a deal. So let it go. So Miss April, again, I want to say thank you for coming on. We're
Thank
gonna make sure
you.
that we have your links around this video so people can get in
Yes.
touch with you.
Yes. Thank you so much. And it was a great pleasure meeting you a couple months ago. And it's a pleasure talking to you now.